Good evening, everyone. Let's start today's session. Kirti, you can start.
Am I audible or visible?
Yeah.
So, good evening to all. My name is Kirti. I'm from Cloud Computing Department, and my presentation on to introduction to data collection, processing, and storage on cloud platform like AWS S3. So let's start. So this is today's agenda is to know about what is AWS, introduction to AWS S3, benefits of AWS S3, what is data collection, process of data collection tools, demonstrations, and cloud platform, and last is conclusion. So start with what is AWS. AWS stands for Amazon Web Service, and the Amazon Web Service platform provide more than 200 fully featured service from data center located all over the world, and is the world most comprehensive cloud platform. Amazon Web Service is an online platform that provides scalable and cost-effective cloud computing solution. And AWS is a broadly adopted cloud platform that offers several on-demand operations like compute power, database storage, content delivery, etc., to help corporate scale and grow. So this is AWS. So what is AWS S3? So before knowing about AWS S3, I want to tell you what is the story behind this. So a large company, earlier a large company have a lot of data belonging to the employee of their company. They also have several projects that they are working on, which generated a large amount of data. Also a lot of data is created from hosting websites, the backing up of emails, etc. Now the problem arises in storing this data. It is expensive affair to store these large data set as it involves purchasing hardware device. Also they need to get a necessary software, and they would need an expert team to manage and maintain this data, which is an overhead of for the company in the long run. Also the security data is a major concern. So after what is S3? So Amazon Web Service S3, mainly S3 stand for simple storage service, and it is the one of AWS many program, and is designed to store, protect, and then allow customers to retrieve data from discrete bucket anytime and anywhere on any application device. So a benefits of AWS S3. My first point is it can store an infinite size of data, and it is less expensive, and it only cost as per usage, and it will provide efficient service without affecting the customer experience, and the application can easily be scalable and available on the S3 cloud environment, and the data is safe and secure when stored in AWS S3. And my last point is it provide flexibility and effortless transfer of data. So these are the benefit of AWS S3. So what is data collection? Data collection is the process of collecting and evaluating information or data from multiple sources to find answer to research problem, answers questions, evaluate outcomes, and forecast trend and probability. It is an essential.
Kirti,
Yes.
your first slide is visible only.
Now.
Yes, it's visible now.
So what is data collection? Data collection is the process of collecting and evaluating information or data from multiple sources to find answers to research problem, answer questions, evaluate outcomes, and it forecasts trend and probabilities. It is an essential phase in all type of research, analysis, and decision making, including that done in the social science, business, and healthcare. So this is data collection. And process of data collection: decide what data you want to gather, and the second thing is establish a deadline for data collection, and select a data collection approach, and gather information, and last is examine the information, apply your finding. So decide what you want to gather. So the first thing that we need to do is decide what information we want to gather. We must choose the subject and the data will cover, the source we will use to gather it, and the quantity of information that we would require. For instance, we may choose to gather information on the category of a product that an average e-commerce website visitor between the ages of 30 and 45 most frequently search for, and establish a deadline for data collection. The process of creating a strategy for data collection can now begin. We should set a deadline for our data collection at the outset of our planning phase. Some forms of data we might want to continuously collect. We might want to build up a technique for tracking transactional data and website visitor statics over the long term. For instance, however, we will track the data throughout a certain time frame. If we are tracking it for a particular company, in this situation, we will have a schedule for when we will begin the and finish gather data, and select a data collection approach. We will select the data collection techniques that will serve as a foundation of our data gathering plan. At this stage, we must take into account the type of information that we wish to gather, the time period during which we will receive it, and the other factor we decide on to choose the best gathering strategy and gather information. Our one Once our plan is complete, we can put our data collection plan into action and begin gathering data. In our DMP, we can store and arrange the data. We need to be carefully to follow our plan and keep an eye on how it is doing. Especially if we are collecting data regularly, setting up a timetable for when we will checking in on how our data gathering is going may be helpful. As circumstance after, and we will learn new detail, we might need to amend our plans. And last is examine the information and apply your finding. It's time to examine our data and arrange our finding. After we have gathered all of the information, the analysis stage is essential because it transforms unprocessed data into insight and knowledge that can be applied to better our making plans, goods, and business judgment. The analytical tools include in our DMP can be used to assist with this phase. We can put the discoveries to use to enhance our business once we have to discover the pattern inside in our data. So this is the process of data collection. So move to our next slide, data collection tools. So there are three data collection tools. Amazon Kinesis, AWS Database Migration Service, AWS Glue. So first is Amazon Kinesis help you collect the streaming data. Kinesis also offer seamless integration and processing capability. And AWS DMS stand for Database Migration Service. It's help you ingest data from relational database. AWS DMS has configure option and direct connection between on-premises and database service such as Amazon Simple Storage Service, yani Amazon S3, that are hosted on AWS. And last is AWS Glow. It is an extract, transformation, and load tool that help you ingest unstructured data. So this is data collection tools. Move to our next slide. I'm going to giving a live demonstration. So firstly, we log in into AWS Management Console account. Yeah. So after login, we just click on the S3. S3 is the service in AWS. In AWS S3, we have to create, we need to create buckets. Okay, just click on the create bucket. Yes, I'm giving a name. Just scroll down and just click on the create bucket. Oh, bucket name must be unique. So just scroll down. Just click on the create bucket. After that, you can see bucket is successfully created. So after this, we just click on the upload. So just click on data. Yes. So our data is successfully uploaded in our bucket. With the help of AWS S3, we can easily create bucket and upload our data simply. So back to our presentation. Uh, Storage on cloud platform. A cloud platform refer to the operating system and hardware of a server in an internet-based data center. It allow a software and hardware product to coexist remotely and at scale. So move to our next slide. Types of cloud platform. There are three cloud platform: public, private, and hybrid. So firstly, what public cloud. Public cloud is a cloud computing model that deliver IT service to organization via the internet. Um, this model is the most popular cloud computing service. It also has the widest array of choice in terms of computing resources and solution. In the public cloud addresses a lot of the IT need of modern day organization. Example of a public cloud include Amazon Web Service and Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. That's all. And private cloud is dedicated for use by a single organization. In this setup, an organization does not share resources with any other organization. The organization may locate its resources is in an on premises data center or use an off-site third party to host them. And hybrid cloud is a combination of both public and private cloud solution. It allow an organization to seamless resources across environment based on its technical basis needs. So come to the conclusion part. In this presentation, we explore about AWS S3 data collection and cloud platform and the type of cloud platform. And Amazon S3 is a scalable, high durable and reliable service to build and manage a secure data lake at scale. You can ingest and store structured and semi-structured and unstructured data from wide variety of source into a centralized platform. And data collection is an essential part of the research process, whether you are conducting scientific experiments, market research or survey. The methods and tools used for data collection will vary depending on the research tab, the sample size required and the resource available. So if you have any question, please ask. If you have any query, I have mentioned my email ID kirtikashyap1215@gmail.com. Thank you for listening me. I have done my PPT.
So Kirti, you're done? Kirti, am I audible to you? Are you done?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you show me your first, second, third, fourth slides?
Okay.
All right, Kirti. So some of your slides are not in a point format. Try to make them in points instead of paragraphs. Okay.
Okay.
And other than that, try to add story while you are explaining. It was more of a script format. So when you are explaining like S3 buckets and things like that, try to add a story. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You can stop sharing your screen. Next, Byleen. You can
Yes,
start.
ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am. I'll share my screen now. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yeah, it's visible, but you are not visible.
1 second. Yes, ma'am. Is it visible
Yeah,
now, ma'am?
yeah, you are. You can
I'll
start.
start to do my presentation now. Yes, a very good evening to everyone who is seeing my presentation, and good evening to the panel member here. And I'm Byleen, and I'm doing my Hack with a cybersecurity internship. And the topic given me is understanding the operating system security and developing a presentation with what I have studied and so on. Of course, this is a continued presentation. To talk about what I did earlier, I just have a brush up session, and I do that, and I'll proceed with things too. First, we'll know what is meant by a security, and we'll just look into the agenda now. And this is the agenda for the session now. And yes, 1 second. And yes, this is the agenda for the session. First, we'll be having the introduction. Then we'll be seeing about the user authentication, permissions, and ACL. Don't worry about these steps. We'll be seeing about these in the upcoming slides too. And the encryption and hashing, security updates, policies, and what is meant by intrusion detection and prevention and so on auditing, on security, and incident response and disaster recovery. The disaster, what is meant here, this is not a regular disaster which happens in environment, but it is entirely different which happens in the cyber field, right? And emerging trends in OS security and conclude. And to give a basic introduction of this is very easy one. Yeah. What is meant by an OS security? First of all, what is an OS? OS is an operating system which we have installed in our computers and which gives us the perfect space for us to interact with the hardware and to manipulate things, maybe, or maybe storing and retrieving things, which is done through the medium known as the operating system. So the protection of the operating system is very much important, and it should be integrity and confidentiality, which must be maintained in a security. CIA, which is known as the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which is the basic structure of the cybersecurity too, and it is maintained here too. And what should it defend against too? It should just defend itself against various threats and vulnerabilities and so on. Threats and vulnerabilities are easy. It's nothing. Just we just saw about a word known as disaster, right? Disaster just happens only if there are some hazards and so on. If the hazards and things are just seen in a good way or treated in a good way, there will be no such disaster which is happening. It might be in the environmental issue or maybe in the cyber security issue too. So it must just defend against the threats and vulnerabilities, and we look into it too. And continuous monitoring and adaptation. Why should we monitor something continuously? Imagine if we being a parent, we have some children and they have their mobile phones. We'll be monitoring them continuously so that they won't get fell into some kind of things they should not fell into, and we can protect them in a better way too. That's how the monitoring system works here, and we'll look into it. And I have a hook story so that you can understand this concept in a very easy manner too. First of all, imagine a scenario. Yeah, cybersecurity is wholly on imagination. Only when we imagine things, we can learn more and we can predict more and we can act accordingly too. First, we have a computer. Yes, of course, we all have a computer which has some confidential information which must be hidden. Yes, I have my computer which have my own private information which should be confidential within to me, and no other one should handle the computer and so on. And then a hacker comes there who wants to look into my secrets. He just wanted to look into my secrets, maybe for fun, or maybe for time passing, or maybe for blackmailing me for money and so on. And he just hacked my computer. It happened, right? And my secret is no more a secret. And this is what happens. And the OS security, what does it has to do with the OS security and the hacker hacking a computer? OS security just gives us a layer of security, and there are furthermore layers which are given by the layers of the TCP IP. Maybe they are just layers which have different layers of physical and network and so on and so on. And once its layer is OS layer, which has its own security purpose and so on, and way of taking care of things and so on too. And that's it for the hook story, and let us go into the further slides now. And these are for the brush up topics. User authentication. It is very a familiar one for us because every time we have mobile phone with us, every time we have a laptop with us, and we have our own maybe the home for us which has a key, and the person who has the authorization for the key, maybe the person who owned the mobile phone or person who owned the home and so on. In such way, the person who had the authority can handle these things. And in digital era, maybe in the mobile phone era and so on and so on, this technological era, the authentication method is basically done in two methods. That is using passwords and using biometrics. Biometrics is nothing but using the face recognition, maybe the fingerprint, that is the thumbprint recognition and so on, maybe the iris scanner and etc. And the two-factor authentication. It is very common nowadays. Even for mailing, signing into the Gmail, we are using the two-factor authentication, which just sends us maybe an OTP, and we'll be verifying it through the SMS, and we'll be entering it through the OTP and so on. And the two-factor authentication factors are just listed in the photo below, which is a knowledge factor, possession factor, biometric factor, location factor, and time factor. Why it is a knowledge factor? Because only you will be knowing it. It is much secured. And possession factor, of course, I have it with me. It is mine, possessed one. And biometric factor, I have to unlock my phone. It has my thumbprint in it. And location factor, it sees some location in some two-factor authentication. And time factor, they just gives us a threshold limit. That is maybe a time limit which is just they'll be sending us the OTP and will tell us this OTP can only be valid for 20 or 30 seconds. And after that, it will get expired. So it is a time factor based too. And the basic practices and common pitfalls. Basically, what we do while creating a password? Maybe we'll be keeping our own name. My name as my own password. It will be easy for the hacker to break into, not the hacker, but anyone can break into, right? And maybe using the common password which everyone may know and so on, which is easy to predict and so on. And how a strong password should be. I have a picture over here which just gives the better way of understanding how a strong password should be. And the person just named it as Rohit Kumar, which is 10% secured, Rohit 123, which is 15%, and Rohit at 123 is 20, and RO and quotations, H quotation, and so on, which is 99.99% of secure. Of course, it is very difficult for him even to remember the password of his. If he can't remember his phone password, how others can also break into the password and so on. And these are the types of the authentication which is used nowadays. Maybe the SMS and email codes, which is done in the two-factor authentication, voice recognition, passwords, fingerprints, and face verification. Yeah. And permissions and ACL. ACL is nothing but access control. I just named a few things before starting about the authentication, right? About mobile phones and how home and so on. Only person who has the authorization will be accessing the certain things which is his. That is how the ACL works too. We'll be having certain rights given to the certain people so that certain people can access the data which can be accessed by them, maybe given by the management and so on. And these are maintained by an admin who just stays at the top and gives the privilege to the person so that he can access the data, and maybe certain access will be given and certain will be restricted. Like he can read the data, he can only read the data, or maybe he can read and write, or he can read and write and delete and so on and so on. And that's how it works too. And it is very important too because it maintains critical layer of the data security. Of course, if you don't have a key for my home, what if everyone has the key for my home? Anyone can enter into it and anyone can do anything and anyone can leave too. And that is how it gives the data security for me, by giving the authorized key only for the people who can have the access. And it prevents the unauthorized access, like how I said now too. And it just makes the people who are authorized to look into the files and folders and maybe change the data into it. And encryption and hashing. This is a very interesting topic which is done basically in cybersecurity. Encryption and hashing, what are those? It may sound little bigger or maybe little confusing maybe, but it's not confusing or not bigger. Encryption is nothing but changing one regular format into an unreadable format, which is known as the encryption, and the vice versa is known as the decryption. And that is what is known as the encryption. And hashing is nothing but the data is just converted into a fixed size string. It has its own hashing function and so on, which is just implied, and the data is converted into the fixed size string. And the example for the encryption is advanced encryption standard and a reverse summary agreement. They are just different algorithms based on whether the encryption is a symmetric encryption or unsymmetric encryption. The symmetricity is just mentioned based on the key what they use. Maybe the same key used for encrypt and decrypt is known as the symmetric encryption, and different keys are used for encrypt and decrypt is known as the non-symmetric encryption, and it is done in such way. And the common algorithms for hashing is SHA-256, which is commonly used now for creating websites and so on, maybe for storing the passwords in the backend data, and MD5, and that's how it works too. And this is the basic comparison between the encryption and hashing in a very simply manner. We'll be using a key for encryption and a key for decryption, and we'll be changing the plain text into a hash function. A hash function will be used to change the plain text into a hashed text. And yes, now we get into the continuation of this presentation. Security updates and patch management. Before getting into this, I just wanted to raise one question. What if my phone gets a software update, and is it really necessary for me to regularly update my software? Maybe. Yes, it is of course necessary for me to regularly update the software, because every day the technology is growing and every day the threats are growing too. So new malware may get introduced, new virus may get introduced, and so on. When they release the new security update for mobile phones, they just gives us the security measure which can fight against those kind of newly released malware and newly released virus, which is very much essential, which can't be done by the softwares named antivirus, which is in our mobile phones, which needs an OS layer security given in the mobile phones through the security updates or maybe the software updates. That's how much important it is. And it is it just looks into the vulnerabilities and weakness and just gives us the better layer of security so that we can just secure ourselves from getting affected into such things and so on. Yes, I just spoke about it right now. Is it really necessary? Of course it is. Because outdated software, maybe if I have a phone which I bought 10 years ago and 6 years ago, the company just stopped giving me the software updates and so on. And I don't have any kind of updates till now. What is the disadvantage I have with me? Maybe my phone is vulnerable to heavy malwares. Maybe my phone is vulnerable to virus. And maybe my phone is vulnerable to any kind of attacks done by a hacker. It is easily hackable too because I lack the layer of security given by the OS here. And the policies. Security policies and access controls. Understanding security policies. Security policies are just a set of rules and guidelines that must be followed in an organization, maybe a system to protect the assets and data. That's how it is done too. Policies are nothing but some kind of a rule or maybe the agenda which must be followed to run things in a peaceful manner. That is what done here too. And there are some types of access control mechanisms here. There are role-based access control, attribute-based access control, and discretionary-based action control. And the role-based access control is nothing but the access control given based on the role. He's a superior, he has certain access. He's under superior, he has certain access too. And he's the low person working there, low person in the sense he's not so superior compared to the rest. He has certain kind of access to. An attribute is based on what are the things they are doing, and discretionary is similar to that too. Yes. And this is the basic thing done in the access control. User just presents the credential to the reader, and the reader forwards the credential to the control panel or the access control unit. The control unit processes the request and compares the credentials of the control list so that it can validate and give the output whether yes or no. If the credentials don't match, it is a 0, right? And the door remains locked. If the credentials are correct, it unlocks the door, and it works in such a way. What happens here is the higher authority and maybe the admin gave the credentials to the user, and the user is just using the card maybe, or maybe the device which he gave to him in a way so that he can access the data. So what is meant here is he has the role-based access control over here, and that's how it works too. And intrusion detection and prevention system. Intrusion, we all should know what is meant by intrusion. Intrusion is nothing but breaking into something. If if my family is living in a home and someone else is breaking into my home, it is known as intrusion. Like he's just getting into my home without any permission and so on. Is it possible for me to detect such intrusion in cyber security sector and prevent such things? Yes, of course. As said earlier, intrusion system is nothing but a monitoring system of the network activities, of signs of any unauthorized access and so on. It just gives us the identifying the security incidents and maybe the attempts to break in, unauthorized access and so on. And the role is nothing but when it goes beyond the detection, it just blocks off the connectivity so that the problem can be avoided and so on. And these are the types of intrusion which happens today. Attempted break-ins, masquerade attacks, denial of service, penetration, and malicious use. Attempted break-ins. Maybe I'm trying again and again and again to crack into the same place and so on. It is known as attempted break-ins. Maybe we can just give a perfect example for this is brute force technique. The brute force technique is nothing but the trial and error. That is, we'll be doing again and again till the perfect combination is received. Maybe let us take a 4-digit password. The password of mine is 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me just take to trial and error this by taking 4 numbers and putting all the combination here. At a certain combination, I'll be getting the right password, the 1, 2, 3, 4 here. That is how the attempted breaking is done. Penetration is nothing but looking how the app, maybe app or website is vulnerable and doing the same thing so that it can be broken off. Denial of service. The denial of service is a very interesting topic where we'll be having the client on the server. The client who is the authorized, maybe the legal or maybe the true client wants to access the server. But what happens there is many false clients. The false client in the sense, the hackers who wanted to overload the website are just requesting the server and just asking for something and so on and so on. So the server gets confused and will not be able to respond the true client over there. So this is not a denial of service. It is done for maybe breaking the trust that people have on the certain websites and so on. And these are the basic types of intrusion detection system, and additional to what I showed in the image. Network-based IDs, host-based IDs, signature-based detection, and anomaly-based detection. It just explained clearly by the name too. If the intrusion is detected in the network, maybe the network traffic and so on, it is known as the network-based. And host-based is nothing but individual devices focus, and the signature-based is nothing but the attack patterns are just identified by just having an activity on the database and so on. And the anomaly based is just a method of the flag deviations from the expected system behavior. Like he has a regular systematic behavior and there is a change in a sudden manner, an unusual change in the user. It gives an anomaly based detection too. And auditing. The security auditing is nothing but a security test which is done over the application. Maybe it can be done everywhere. Security auditing is just a common word. Like if I wanted to test my company's security audit, I can also do that by just checking, verifying, or every people are trustworthy, starting from that, from ending, or every lockers are safe, and so on. It is how the auditing is done in security manner to assess the adherence to security policies and standards. Like if you have to stick towards the policies which we laid, so that there won't be any confusion in the future too. And the common security standards. These are common security standards which are good enough to know. ISO 27001. It is an international organization for standardization. Of course, we all know that. And it is a security standard, of course. NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology. It is a US government agency that is used for promoting cybersecurity, not only for cybersecurity, but even for cloud and so on. And the process of auditing is done in these three ways: planning, executing, and reporting. First, they will plan what to do, like giving the perfect agenda, or maybe the scope, or what is the goal to be, and so on. Executing in the sense they'll be checking every vulnerabilities, and if there is any, they'll be improving. Reporting is once they find any problems and so on, they'll just document it and they'll just provide it to the next sector so that they can take care of this and so on. There are two types of audits: internal and external. Internal is done within the organization, and external done outside the organization, that is third-party auditors and so on. And importance. It is really important to have a compliance, right? Compliance with security standards and regulations is crucial for safeguarding these things. It is like the security policies can be followed in a regular manner so that things can be handled in a smoother way too. Enforcement and role. Why should we have the enforcement and role? Can you remember the topic which we spoke before, the access control? It just have the perfect reason for this, like telling the enforcement role, which gives us the perfect role for the access and monitoring. So the access control plays a major role even here too. We should have a certain role given to the certain people so that things can be happening in a very smoother way. I often repeat the word smoother way here because the smoother way here is a place where hacking is not possible, or maybe social engineering is not possible, and so on and so on. And incident response and disaster recovery. What is meant as a disaster here? What if I'm having a huge database with me for my company, and suddenly a data breach is happened? Data breach is nothing but when someone just broke into my data to steal the data, maybe, or manipulate the data, or maybe edit the data there, so that to spoil my company's reputation and so on. It has happened in such way. Such thing is known as a disaster. Is it possible for me to respond in a quicker manner if such thing happen? It is how, even if such thing, we have to lay some protection over it so that such thing never happens. But even though someone can break it too, if someone breaks it, we have to take faster response so that it won't be lasting for a big thing too. And the steps are given at the bottom in the picture. First, we'll be preparing, detecting and analysis, and we will be containment, eradication and recovery, and the post-incident activity. It is just the regular thing which has happened for the incident response and disaster recovery, but it is also suitable for both cybersecurity as well as every industry here. And these are some of the emerging technologies that I wanted to share with you all. Maybe it is based on the today's trend to improve the security, or maybe changing these, adapting to the changing circumstances and so on. First, the technique is zero trust security model. The zero trust security model is a paradigm shift that treats every user device untrusted. That is, they will be in the same network. They'll be in the same corporate network where everyone will be treated as untrusted and so on. And the AI machine learning, it is a big, it is a boom which is done here, right? Everyone knows what is AI and everyone knows what is ML. And based on that, AI, what AI can do is it can have the ability to think on itself, so that it will be classifying things and so on what intelligence it learned from seeing the world. And machine learning is nothing but we will be feeding the information to the machine. We'll be training the machine to do a certain task, and accordingly it will be doing the things. And it will be detecting the anomalies. We'll be training the machines to detect the anomalies so that if there is any security breach, it can be found. And the container security. Containerization technique is nothing but we'll be having a container. We'll be having a container where different components like maybe if I'm building a software, the software must have some dependencies and so on, which should be stored into containerization, where the container is used to storing such information into it, and it will be used again and again, maybe scalable and flexible, reusable, and so on. And cloud security and CASBs. Cloud, it is a very blooming topic to no one is here without using cloud. Even the Google Docs, which people use today, has the ability to store the data into the cloud, and which can be retrieved later on too. And Internet of Things. Internet of Things is just nothing but the combination of multiple sensors and microcontrollers put into together to handle a particular outcome. It is how Internet of Things works too. The sensors. Let me give an example for IoT. If I have a smart parking system, or maybe the smart traffic control, which just detects the density of the vehicles parked over there, so that accordingly it just gives me the red or green, and how it works. It is how it works, and it is an example for the IoT. And biometric authentication advancements. Of course, we have a very large scale of biometric authentication, where even in mobile phones we can see ultrasonic fingerprint scanners and so on, which was like a very big level which we growed when we compare it from the past and now. And quantum computing and post quantum cryptography. It is really difficult for people to crack, even if it is done in a simple computer. And quantum computer, which can handle in a super fast method, which can handle very humongous amount of data. It could just break the existing encryption algorithms, so that quantum computers can just act like the supercomputers, and can just to be specific, it can be the powerful system can ever have, and can also withstand every kind of attacks too. And these are the references which I used for making this presentation. I used Java T-Point, Geeks for Geeks, and ChatGPT, and even W3 Schools for it. And this is my contact information. And if you have any queries, you can just ask me so that I can resolve your queries too. And yes, thank you all.
So, Byleen, you are done?
Yes, ma'am, I'm done.
Okay, so your presentation was really nice. You have explained everything very thoroughly, researched as well. So that was good point. Okay,
Yes,
I will give your feedback on your mail, okay? You can stop
yeah,
sharing.
ma'am, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Somya?
Am I audible and visible now?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So I will start with my presentation. Hello everyone. Today I am excited to share the journey. Okay, wait. My screen visible now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So hello everyone. Today I'm excited to share the journey of my web development internship project. So the task that was assigned to me was to create a doctor search website. So I've named my website as MediSeek, which basically means medical seek or medical research. So I've named my website like this. Now first comes the agenda. In the agenda, I have introduction first. So now let's start with the introduction. MediSeek is your dedicated online platform for finding your doctors as per your needs. We understand that everyone's healthcare requirements are different. So our commitment is to connect you with the quality healthcare provider with MediSeek. You can search the online professional specialization in the exact area of expertise you need or required. Whether you need a specialization or a nearby doctor, or a practitioner who understands your unique health concern, MediSeek is your trusted guide. We are here to ensure that your healthcare decisions are well informed and convenient. Then, then comes the summary. In summary, my doctor search website is a user-centric platform designed to connect individuals with the right healthcare provider based on their specific medical needs. Now, user can easily search for doctor specialization, and this platform displays comprehensive doctor profiles complete with their names, images, and detailed information. To now, the motto of this website is Your Health, Our Priority, which is dedicated to simplifying healthcare and decision the promoting informed choices. Then we have steps. So in the steps now involving this platform, first I have decided the version of this project, uh, understanding what user needs and how to create a solution with technology. Then I have created engaging and user-friendly interface considering the look, feel, and functionality of the website. Then comes the development. I have transformed the design into working website with Figma, writing the code and creating backend with the database. Then comes the database setup. I have created and connected the database with the website. Then there's testing. For website testing, every element, fixing the issue and ensuring a smooth user experience. Then comes the which make the website live for all the users to use it, making it accessible. Now we have planning. This is how I've planned my project. So in the planning section, I have focused on various aspects of the project. First, I have created wireframes for the basic design of my website. Then I have used Figma to create the design. Then I have stacked the technologies required for this project. Then the next thing I did was to create a database for all the doctors' information. Then I did the front end and back end using Figma and Node.js. Then I did the database integration with the website for the better use of the website. Then testing and the deployment of the website. Now comes the design. For design, I have used Figma, which is a powerful cloud-based design with various tools. I have also used the plugins like Anima for HTML and CSS code, and Figma to Webflow for footer and form. Now comes the database. For the database, I have used PHP and MySQL. PHP is a versatile scripting language for web development, while MySQL is an open source relational database management system. Now I've created a doctor database with fields like doctor's name, specialization, contact details, and additional information. Now this is the list of the application I've used for this project. So including Figma for designs, Anima and front end, Node.js for backend development, PHP for MySQL for the database, and Postman for testing. And I've also used UI illustration like LovePick for all the UI illustration I've embedded in my project. And for the logo of the website, I've used Logo app, GenCrowd for all the AI images of the doctors, and colors for selecting the theme of my project. Then I've used universe.io for all the stylish buttons. Then comes the working of the project. Okay, so now let's dive into how the project works. MediSeek operates as a seamless bridge between patients and healthcare providers. User can search for doctors based on specialization or name with detailed doctor profiles and informed choices. As you can see in this illustration, user interact with okay, okay here. So as you can see in this illustration, user interact with our website front end by entering their database, specialized or a doctor's name in the search boxes. When a user searches for a doctor, their requirement is then sent to our server, which is a crucial step in the process of making a website. So our server is responsible for processing these requests, then involves tasks like data retrieval and filtering. You can imagine it as the brain behind the operation. Then it shows the result on the website as per your requirements. Now comes the conclusion of the website. In conclusion, MediSeek is here to make your healthcare decision well informed and convenient. So, as the theme, at MediSeek, we understand that everyone's healthcare requirements are unique. So, we have created the website according to their requirements as per today's requirements and need for each and every person. Now, your healthcare providers is our top priority, and we are committed to connecting you with quality healthcare provider you deserve. With our platform, you can search for healthcare professionals who specialize in the exact area of expertise you require. So let me walk you through the website. This is the website I've made. So here we have a home button, about us button, and the contact button. So the I've created a logo of the website, then connecting you with the quality healthcare provider. Your health is our priority is the main motto of the website making. Now let's see if a user want to contact a doctor or want to arrange an appointment, they can click on the get started section, write the specialization. Let's say we have cardiologist. Then we have a doctor name as Dr. John Smith. So here is the Dr. John Smith, which is specialized in cardiology, an experienced cardiologist with expertise in treating heart-related conditions. So a user can arrange their appointment with Mr. John Smith, which is a cardiologist, by clicking to the contact us section. They can write their name, their email, and the message. If they want, if they have any query, they can also add it in the box. Or if they want to arrange an appointment, they can send the message to this message box and send message. Then it will go to the clients. Then it will arrange the appointment for every user. Then we have a footer section. This is a contact section and about us section. Now, this is the presentation of my website. Thank you for your attention. I'm done with my presentation, ma'am.
Somya, you're done?
Yes, ma'am.
So actually, I want to ask, which database have you used in your PPT? Sorry, in your website?
I have used MySQL and PHP.
Okay, I want to ask why you have used those databases.
Because they are quite easy to make the website like this is the normal website we can say. So for creating a doctor database, I've used PHP and MySQL for easily accessing the doctor's name, specialization, and contact details or additional information.
But there are other databases as well which can do the same task easily.
Yes, ma'am. So currently I've learned this PHP and MySQL, so I've tried to work on it.
All right. All right, I will give your feedback on your mail, okay? You can stop sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.